this is another interesting case, in my opinion, Easy Way Cattle, and an issue that pops up a lot. What happened is the client filed a claim for SR&D, or sorry, their accountants filed a claim for SR&D at the 18-month deadline, and the Canada Revenue Agency came back and said, oops, one of the schedules, called Schedule 31, it looks like it was missing. And as a result, your whole claim's denied. So the issue is, what is prescribed form? What forms need to be filed? And what does the Tax Act mean when file prescribed information in prescribed form? What are the prescribed forms? Well, that's a good question. So the accountants argued that Schedule 32, the T661 form, also referred to as Schedule 32, is the form that has all the SR&D costs and the project descriptions, and that there's no information on Schedule 31 that isn't actually already on Schedule 32, was their argument. That there's nothing new on Schedule 31 that you can't infer from Schedule 32. It automatically populates that form. But the respondent, CRA, or the Crown, argued that, well, we don't care. The Income Tax Act, Section 127 sub 9, definition of ITC says there's a prescribed form. So we want it. So what's interesting is they talk about prescribed form in Section 37, which is the cost. And they actually talk about prescribed form in 127, which is the tax credits. So it says so in 127, they say if the taxpayer does not file a prescribed form containing prescribed information with the amount, CRA and the Crown made the argument that this form refers to Schedule 31, the ITCs. Section 37 refers to the Schedule 32, and both are prescribed form. And they won. Judge says, I agree. 127 has its form, Schedule 31. 37 has this form, Schedule 32. So the implications are, yeah, you've got to file both of those forms. And, CRA has always said that you've got to file both of those. And it's not like this is something new. They've said it in its documentation. Usually what happens is the claimant thinks that they probably paper filed. So if you electronically file, it's not an issue. If you paper file it at the 18-month deadline, how do you prove you filed Schedule 31? I think we did. Well, we think you didn't. I think we did. It's a he said, she said. There is a case that we talked about at last year's practitioner meeting about a miniature printer where the taxpayer was denied on the basis that it wasn't SR&ED, and they said the same thing, that you didn't file Schedule 31. Their argument was different. They didn't admit that they didn't file Schedule 31 or that it wasn't necessary. They said, yes, we did. We filed. We're sure we saw it go in the envelope. We mailed it ourselves. We saw it. And the judge said, based on the credibility of the witness, he thinks they filed it. Okay? But I've talked to the CRA on this issue numerous times for numerous clients, and their argument's pretty scary. They say, well, listen, when you mail something into the tax center, we take it and we scan every single page. We scan it. We scan the label. We scan all of it. We don't think we missed it, And if you're saying we did, well, let's leave that to a judge to decide. So that's kind of a daunting position to say, well, I'm really saying to CRA internal policy, like, missed just one schedule out of a whole thing. And then you second guess it. Well, maybe I did forget Schedule 31. Again, you're in a very scary predicament here because you've lost the entire claim. And the courts aren't going to be sympathetic with you. I mean, my real lesson here is, don't file at the 18 months. CRA has administrative policy that says if you file at 15 months, you kind of get the chance to put it in. But that's not law. That's CRA administrative policy. So even if you go to court on that, the judge will say, well, that's not, I'm here to enforce the law. That doesn't count. So again, CRA can go back on that whenever they want. And again, that's the problem, difference between legislation and administrative policy.